Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Pauly Howard on VSiN.
Welcome into Follow the Money, show presented by DraftKings. Mitch on vacation, Pauly Howard, Matt Youmans, JT the Brick on the Raiders coming up in the bottom of the hour. We'll talk draft here in a second. Welcome in, everyone. Been a fun show. Jonathan Davis pointing out McDavid with a 20-point lead over Tkachuk, which is the biggest gap here in points for the playoffs. And, you know, again, why you're seeing 3,000 for the Conn Smythe. Most points in a single postseason. Gretzky 47, Lemieux 44, Gretzky 43, McDavid 42, even with the donut in the last game. So, and Gretzky's also got on that list 3 times as well. NBA Draft first round Wednesday. Our colleague Jonathan Von Tobel joins us now. Follow him on X and does a great job. Everything up on vsin.com with the draft. All right, appreciate the time, sir. He's on the Progressive guest line, by the way. So you have Klingon 13-1, and you last time you were on and in studio, you recommended and gave that out as well. How do you feel now that you're seeing him plus 190 to go number 1 overall?
I think you feel pretty good. By all accounts, right, the Hawks coaching staff does want Klingon. That makes sense. Quinn Snyder played with an archetype like that, Rudy Gobert. But it does sound like there's some resistance at taking him in this spot. In fact, Gavoni posted a new mock draft this morning and even put that while he remains a play at number 1, might be a more realistic option if the Hawks trade down a few spots to the San Antonio Spurs, something that might not materialize. So we'll see if that actually happens. But I think it's a fit. And at the very least, it was right in that, look, there was 2 guys, it seems, that were in play, Ricochet and Klingon, and Sarr has, I think, tanked his way out of this, which we'll see if that's successful. But I do feel pretty good. I mean, you have to, considering where the market's at and where the intel's at this point.
Can you elaborate on that? Tank not working out for teams?
Yeah, so he hasn't worked out for the Atlanta Hawks, and it seems to be purposeful. It sounds like he doesn't want to play for them, and he sounds like he's forcing himself to get there to number 2. The interesting thing about Sarr is the San Antonio Spurs have been lurking as a team to potentially trade up to number 1. Now, a lot of people thought that was going to be Ricochet would be the target, right? The 3-and-D guy who played with Victor Wembanyama in the past. But if Mark Stein reported over the weekend that if they were to do that, it would be to go get Sarr, which is pretty fascinating, Paul, because on Friday during our show, Jonathan Gavoni went on SportsCenter and said that it is viewed in league circles that Sarr is a lock to go number 2 to the Washington Wizards. And during our show, he went from minus 140 to minus 550 to be the second overall pick. So we could have some shenanigans. But right now, if you're looking at the intel, and by the way, this has become an odds-on over at DraftKings, the exacta for the top 3 would be Ricochet, Sarr, and Reed Shepherd to go 3rd overall.
Okay, I have to ask you about that. So what Gavoni reported, and then you saw the big moves there. You go back a couple of years ago in the shenanigans. My God.
Yeah.
So I'm not a tinfoil hat guy, but, this bothers a lot of people, and, okay, do with it what you want. So you got ESPN Bet, you have FanDuel. You got Woj with ESPN, you got Shams with FanDuel. You also saw the madness 2 years ago when they move markets. So how concerned are you, and will you respect the tweet? Because they were both wrong with the Paulo thing a couple of years ago. What if there's a Woj bomb early Wednesday morning? Are you going to believe it? What do you think?
No, I understand that. It's going to be hard. Like, I would say that the large sample size would say that Woj and Shams are accurate in their reporting. But I don't deny anybody the speculation that they have when it comes to what's happened over the last few years. You mentioned the nonsense with Paulo Banchero in the first overall selection a couple of years ago. Last year was Shams reporting that Scoot Henderson was going to go to Charlotte, and that ended up, of course, not being true. But I think in reality, when you look at where these operators are and who they've tied themselves to, they've only invited this speculation. So when they're wrong, it does look like it's somewhat purposeful. But I don't think that's really the case. So I'll believe it for the most part because I do think they have a large sample size, but it is hard to deny the ridiculousness we've seen over the last couple of days. But at the very least, Paul, it's not just them at this point. It does seem that there is smoke with some of these other reporters all around the atmosphere that is at least pointing to the direction of what we're going to get in our top 3 for now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, not too many locks when it comes to the draft beyond the number 1 pick sometimes, and you have to be careful what you believe and what's written out there in the market. All right, so I want to – DraftKings has a really good – prop menu up here, JVT. It's difficult to bet this NBA draft if you live in Nevada. No bookmakers here want to put this draft up. DraftKings done a pretty good job here. Bronny James draft position open 39.5 up to 40.5. I'm seeing 41. Zach Edey, 2-time college player of the year, 16.5 The over -140. I'm taking Bronny James over, Zach Edey over. I think Edey goes somewhere around 19 or 20. Bronny James, I don't know how the hell he would go in the first round, and I don't think he goes before the Lakers pick 55th. I'm not even sure you need to draft the guy. You could sign him as a free agent because nobody other than the Suns or the Lakers are going to take Bronny, right? He's even money to go to the Lakers, 7-1 to go to the Suns. What do you see with the scenarios of those two players? And then I'll get to the second part of the question.
Yeah, I think for Edey specifically, Zach, a lot of mocks that I've read have tied him to Miami. They're at 15th, so I guess that would be your danger spot, but it doesn't seem to be based on intel. It seems to be based more on positional need for that team, putting him out there and getting some center depth behind Bam Adebayo. So, Well, it makes some sense. There isn't like concrete reports like, hey, Miami loves Zach Edey. So I think it would make some sense, but I do think you feel safe that Edey's going to be a first-round pick. As far as Bronny's concerned, I think it's pretty interesting because, like you said, the Phoenix Suns, the only other team he's worked out for, picked 22nd. Are they going to spend the 22nd overall pick on him? I would say probably not. And so I think you get into the second round. And then when you get to the second round, no other team except for the Lakers has worked out Bronny, and that would be at number 55. And I don't think you're trading up to go and get him, at least inside of that draft position that is there. So I'd feel pretty comfortable betting over on Bronny James. You can go exacta right. Yesterday it was even money for the Lakers. I think they've now reached odds-on status to draft him. You can go Phoenix, which is floating around the range of 7-1 if you want. But again, I don't think they can buy back into the second round because they are over that second apron. So it seems that all signs point to the Los Angeles Lakers going to get him, and that's going to be at 55. So I'd be pretty comfortable going over Bronny's draft position for sure.
Yeah, I would too. To be honest, they don't even need to draft Bronny. They could sign him as a free agent, but they will draft him because LeBron wants his kid to have the status of being a drafted player, and the circus with the Lakers continues. JVT, how about draft positions? I read your mock draft up at vsin.com previous to the weekend. Have you been able to get down bets on any of these draft position props?
So draft positions, no, I haven't. I've got a couple exact first, second, third, fourth, all that kind of stuff. But I will say for some of the draft positions and some of the guys that I think really do make some sense, one of the dudes that I'm really looking for is Cody Williams. He's sitting at 8.5, Matt. It's a pick right now, -115. One of the teams that I really like him, that's why I mocked him to Memphis at number 9. It depends really on what's going to happen with Klingon, because while Memphis, does like Donovan Klingon a lot, if he's not available, I think a guy like Cody Williams makes a ton of sense for a team that needs some really a lot of help along the wing. And Williams looks ready-made. Remember, he was, as you guys know, in the conversations for the first overall pick when the college basketball season started. And he looked like he had a really, really strong season. He's got the profile of a good player. I think that he's going to float around that 8.5 range. But I think I would tempt to go under because I do think some of these teams are going to be tempted to go after him. Portland needs a lot of help along the wing as well. I think that that's going to be a pretty solid, but I'd go under on Cody Williams. I really like that kid, and I think he's got a high upside.
Under 8.5. Okay, one more player. How about Dalton Knecht from Tennessee? When I watch him in college, I think he's a perfect NBA wing player. I like him in the top 10. Draft position at DraftKings is 9.5, under -150. I'm pretty confident Knecht goes in the top 9. How about you?
Yeah, I would agree with the market. It's under at -150, and every single mock that I've read has him in that range of 6 to 9, mostly landing with Charlotte and or Portland. Knecht, I think I had him at Portland going in that spot because, look, Charlotte just needs wing help, and I think you're better off if you're Charlotte getting Stephon Castle because I think he's a lot better defensively, and I think he fits really well with what they want to do. A team that finished second to last in defensive efficiency, but he could also do worse than adding Knecht, right? They weren't a really good three-point shooting team. They can put him out there. He can space the floor, works really well next to both Miller and LaMelo Ball. Same thing with Portland. Portland was not a very good three-point shooting team, and they just need a lot of talent. I don't think he really makes it past Portland. I don't think he's in danger of being drafted by San Antonio, but I think 6 to 9 is where you're ending up. And a vast majority of those times, I think he's ending up with either Charlotte or Portland. And I think under 9.5 would be the way to go.
Share some of the other bets you made, 2, 3, 4, 5, and also the steam on Reed Shepherd to go to 3rd. Go 3, excuse me.
So I saw the ones that I've got that have really moved. So I've got Klingon, like you mentioned, to go first overall at a good price. When the news came out about Sarr, I bet him at -140 to go second. So hopefully that ends up going there. And then Modest Buzelis, it's moved a little bit here, Paul, but I still think about +130. It's still playable. I got him at +250 to go 5th overall to Detroit. There's a lot of intel that's tying Buzelis to the Pistons. So whether it's their new president of basketball operations coming in from New Orleans and liking this archetype of player, the organization itself liking him before they made the hire too. There's a lot that points to to him going 5th overall. So I think that's one to really monitor too. And then I did put some on Reese Shea to go 4th overall to San Antonio. So again, hoping the way that this breaks down is obviously if Klingon goes number 1, the Spurs potentially could sit back there and at number 4 have Reese Shea fall into their lap. 3-and-D wing player that used to play with Wemby back in the day. I think it's a really good fit, makes a ton of sense. And at 4th, they could get him and then go at guard there at number 8. So those are the ones that I've got for right now. It's been kind of limited what you can get down, of course, because of the options, but those are the others that I've put in my pocket.
Do you have a hot take on a big move in the offseason that could happen?
My hot take has been that maybe Jimmy Butler is going to be finding a new home here in the offseason. It does seem that the relationship, not as soured, but I think it's reached its end, right? You know, he's injured, he's old, he's owed a lot of money, but there are teams that I think that are on the precipice of competing for a championship that would really like him, namely the team that he probably should have stayed with before he went to Miami, and the Philadelphia 76ers.
Yep.
We got report over the weekend, like Friday night, that the 76ers have kind of waned in their interest in Paul George. I think that means you're looking somewhere else, and I think that means you're either going OG Anunoby, trying to kind of woo him away from the New York Knicks, or maybe trying to offer a trade and trying to go and get Jimmy Butler for a little bit cheaper than what he really is worth because of his status and his contract. So that's my big hot take. I think by the time we get to the season, Jimmy Butler's in a new uniform.
All right.
Where's Paul George? Where's he going?
He's staying. I think he stays with the Clippers, Matt.
Okay.
I think given the combination of the intel from Philly and the fact that they can just give him what he wants to stay there, he wants to live in the city, I think it makes too much sense.
Okay.
Chris Paul or Klay Thompson on the Lakers do anything for you?
Not really. I mean, I think Klay Thompson does more than Chris Paul does for me because at least he can shoot. And he did have good numbers last year.
Good luck, John. Thanks for a few minutes. We'll enjoy it Wednesday.
Guys, appreciate it.
There you go. JVT checking on the Progressive guest line. Win some, lose some up next. This has happened 7 times already in this tournament, and some vicious beats up next.
Last night? Wow, winning.
Or was it a rough one?
Well, they can't all be winners, can they?
Loser! You're a loser! Pauly Howard recaps the night in sports betting in Win Some, Lose Some.
Game 6, Fogle, first goal, 35-1. Anytime goal, plus 550. Henrique, 7-1. Anytime goal. Oilers, penalty kill for the playoffs. They're -1. I can't get over this. They've allowed 4 power play goals. They have 3 shorthanded goals in the playoffs and killed 46 of the last 47. Skinner, first goalie to have an assist in the Stanley Cup final since 2003. Marty Brodeur. That's a good, that's something to put. Velo said it wasn't offered, but that's something that, throw that up. Who knows what the price is, but that's great job by Skinner. And first goalie to do that in a long, long time. Another own goal in the Euros. And again, hard to find, but if this is paying 7-8-1, it's happened 7 times already in this tournament. France, Netherlands draw plus 210. Georgia, Czech Republic draw 3-1. UFC Fight Night, Whitaker, round 1, 7-1. Lou Finicaro did it again. Volkov, plus 210 to win by decision. He was 6-1. Lima by sub 8-1 to win in round 3, 13-1. Magomedov to win in round 3, 8-1. Gadzi Alazov by decision, 7-1. WNBA, Liberty Sparks over, 166.5 up to 169.5. 98-88. These are high totals, and they're moving on a regular basis and getting there. Fever, Saturday, plus 1.5, went off a 3-point favorite. They were up big and won by 12 on Friday. Yesterday, I put it under win some, but we were talking about this before the show with Matt. The Chicago Sky opened the dog, went off a 2-point favorite, and won by 1 yesterday as Reese was fantastic against Clark. More on the free throw debacle coming up. But
Chicago opened a 1-point dog overnight, closed a 2-point favorite, and won by 1. You know, by the way, mention that Fever Dream game on Friday.
Yep.
17,700 fans showed up for that game.
Believe that?
Wow, that's hard to believe. Actually, the Caitlin Clark factor in the WNBA is a real thing.
Yep. Subscribe, be part of the team, vsin.com, our radio and podcast friends. You always want to see these tweets and videos. A great dog video today. He is allowed to eat what's on the floor. That's the rule. So here he knocks the biscuit on the ground, and he comes in. The owner's not looking. Coming. Oh, it's on the floor. I'm allowed to have it now. There you go. Look at coming in with the paw, slowly but surely. Come in. Oh, no, I know what I'm doing. I have it all figured out. Look at his face. That's awesome. We played the video at the end of the show Friday with Donald Sutherland on with Rosie and passing gas in an elevator. He once racked up a $7,000 phone bill listening to Montreal Expos game over a telephone from Europe. His love of the Expos and of Canada was endless, and we lost him at the age of 88, a great actor. And he even took it hard when the Blue Jays lost in the playoffs last year. He's got a great quote of being disgusted when Vlad got picked off second late in one of those games. So had to listen on the phone.
$7,000 phone bill.
Right. Listening to Expos
My
games.
first question was, did he have a big bet on the game?
That's true. Sure. That's a fair question.
What's
no
your
doubt.
favorite Donald Sutherland movie?
Oh, that's hard. Well, I would say Roll. I mentioned it briefly Friday. In JFK, he's in, I think, one scene, but it's like an 8-minute scene, and it's just Costner has a couple lines in the scene. He's going nonstop talking for 8 minutes. I can't believe you can recall that much dialogue.
He's a great actor.
Oh, absolutely.
Great actor. I like the Dirty Dozen. I'm going to go way back. Dirty Dozen and Kelly's Heroes.
All right, that's fair.
You watch those?
No doubt.
You've seen those?
Like,
those are way, you gotta go way
Kelly's
back to it.
Is that Don Rickles? Kelly's Heroes?
Yeah, he was in that.
It was a MASH, too. Okay. Dana White said he's already $16 million deep in preparing the spear for UFC 306 on September 14th. It will be one and done, and it'll be the greatest live sporting event of all time, according to Dana White, with the UFC coming to the spear. Lose some? The Wings, plus 1.5, went off a 3.5-point favorite Saturday. Not even close. Lost by 28 to the Mystics. Oh, God. What was that all about? Not even close with that move. Mercury links over 160.5 up to 167. Also not even close. 73 to 60. Now, I know you golf every day. You golfed yesterday and 110 degrees. You don't care. I put this under lose some. This is under How to Get Divorced 101. This is from Cheryl. Hey, Mark. It's on the tape to the door. I know you're going to play golf this afternoon with the boys. I've borrowed a few of your clubs with the numbers 6, 7, 8, and 9. After you finish cutting the lawn and edging the driveway, text me a picture. After I get your text, I will let you know where I left those clubs with the numbers on them. Also, include the dog out on the lawn so I know you're not texting an old picture. Your loving wife, Cheryl. Come on, Cheryl.
Oh, wow.
That's not right.
Yeah, he made the mistake. He got married. You gotta pay for your mistakes.
It's tough.
Go ahead.
Yep.
Go ahead.
Couple bad beats. Oh, it doesn't end. I had it. Game 6 under. 5.5. Not one, two. 2 empty net goals. It was 3-1 Edmonton with 3 minutes left. And 2 empty net goals. And I was talking to Jeff Davis, who does a great job here at Circa. And it's not just Jeff, it's all these people. I mean, imagine if you had Bobrovsky or Barkov, Conn Smythe. It's over. It's 3-0. They're going to win the series, and one of them are going to win the award. And now it's all McDavid, no matter what happens tonight. Even if Bob has a shutout, I don't think he can get it. I mean, McDavid's minus 3,000. That's tough. And soccer, well, they got me. Switzerland was, I tell you, the worst beats are in soccer. It never ends. Switzerland was plus 550. Hungary, Scotland draw was 3-1. At the same time yesterday, bang, bang. Scotland allows a goal in the 99th minute, 1-0 Hungary, and then Germany ties it up in the 92nd minute. So you get a nice place of return on the draw, but Switzerland plus 550, and that loses. And then the Sky, if you laid 2 against the Fever, they missed 6 free throws in the final 45 seconds. They missed their last 4 in the last 15 seconds. 0-4 from the free throw line, and they win by 1. NFL training camp starting in less than a month, and we're ready. The betting guide drops Thursday. Youmans, Adam Burke, everyone did a great job. In-depth profiles of every team, advanced stats, betting systems. Musburger's picks as well. prop bets, win totals, and to celebrate the release of the guide, special coverage throughout the day. Tune in Thursday. We'll go over everything at the guide and all our picks and predictions. Can't wait. VSiN.com/subscribe. Get it today. VSiN.com/subscribe. Thank you. Great job, fellas. As if we didn't have enough at so many angles with this Game 7 tonight. The comeback and McDavid and the Conn Smythe and the drought for Canada. You also have that bettor at MGM who has a ticket that pays almost $600,000 on the Oilers. He had Kansas City to win the Super Bowl, Real Madrid to win Champions League, and when they got off to that horrible start, slow out of the gates, Edmonton 11-1 to win the Cup. I mean, he another dead 3-0. It's over. I'm down 0-3. And he's great position to hedge. He was before the series, but also he has an opportunity to lock in a profit tonight as well. But certainly you have to like Edmonton's chances. They've outscored them 20-5 now and dominated play the last 3 games in the third period of Game 3. Oh, can't wait for tonight. It's great. But I do agree with, biggest show. Let's say Florida loses. Number one, it's happened before, the Leafs in 42. But I have to go, certainly Yankees blowing it to the Red Sox in 04 and hold my beer Atlanta Falcons. 28-3 late in the third quarter of the Super Bowl. You can't lose that game. That's all-time choke job.
That's the greatness of Kyle Shanahan, right?
I can't put all of it. I get a stop.
He played a part. He played a part in it. No, it's not all on him, but
No.
he played a part in it. He's played a part in blowing a few Super Bowls.
Yeah.
But it's hard to argue against the Atlanta Falcons being the biggest choke of all time. 2004 Yankees against the Red Sox, probably just a little bit below that, and this has got to be number 2 or number 3.
Yeah. How the whole thing's
if the
flipped.
Panthers
Yeah.
collapse.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. To outscore them 11-1 to start the series going into the third period of Game 3. And you're thinking it's going to be a sweep. And then how it's just completely flipped. And again, I keep going back to what Ray Ferraro said Friday, but he's exactly right. Sometimes you can win more than one game. Sometimes it just because they're shook. Getting routed 8-1 mess with their heads. And now imagine what they're thinking now about, oh, God, are we going to blow this? And that's why I think the first goal is so huge tonight, and can't wait for this one tonight. Back to the Raiders. JT the Brick, who was right about this team last year. He loves them over 6.5 this year. We'll preview the Las Vegas Raiders coming up next on Follow the Money.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Get up there every day. Bookmark at VSiN.com. Nigel Seeley on soccer. Johnny Lazarus on Game 7 tonight. Brent Musburger, NFL picks. College World Series. Everything you want. Shoemaker, WNBA. Best bets, betting splits, odds by state betting tools. Check it out every day. VSiN.com. Great to talk to this guy. JT the Brick joins us now to preview the Raiders. Raider Nation Radio, Mad Dog Radio. Follow him on X as well. He's on the Progressive guest line. How you been, sir? Thanks for getting up early.
Oh, I couldn't wait to do this. Thanks, guys. Everything's doing good except the heat, the 109 yesterday in Vegas. We'll get through it.
It's tough, I know. Youmans playing golf like a lunatic. Hey, we were just talking about this before you came on. Dana White bringing UFC 306 to the Spear. How was the Dead show at the Spear you went to? Dead and Company.
It was fabulous, Pauly. I mean, the graphics were even better than U2, who I saw there. They put a lot of money into that show, and again, it's hard to explain the Sphere because no one who's not, if you haven't been there, you're not going to be able to understand it by just looking at the videos online. It's the best concert experience in the world. It's hard to go to other concerts after you've been to the Sphere. It's the ultimate Vegas game changer.
Wow. Ringing endorsement there. Unbelievable. I can't wait to see a concert there. You were right about this team last year. They almost made the playoffs, and even through the McDaniels stuff, and they still won 8 games, and the below-average quarterback play at times. So win total 6.5. You changed my mind on this team. There's a lot of talented players, especially on the offensive side of the ball. What do you think of the Raiders this year?
Well, I think the Raiders are better than all the credit they're getting. A lot of this has to do with, media coverage. The roster's better than it was last year. I don't think there's any debate there, even losing Josh Jacobs, who didn't play in the last 4 games. So the reason this team is getting no love, no attention, no segments on NFL Network and Sports Center, and no one's talking about them other than you guys today, is because they don't have a marquee quarterback and they lost Josh Jacobs. Aiden O'Connell played. He didn't play beautifully. He did not. Didn't throw a completed pass after the first quarter in Kansas City, but they beat Kansas City. They put up 63 on the Chargers, and they got themselves back in the playoff race late after the McDaniels firing to fight to keep Antonio Pierce's job. Pauly, I don't think, and Matt, Pierce would have got the job if he didn't win the games that he did in the second half of the year in the open tryout. He has the team in the palm of his hands. I thought they had a gift from God in the draft with Brock Bowers, the greatest tight end ever to play college football, coming in. And I think the quarterback debate is what is fair. I think it's fair to say, is it Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell? And once they decide on that, I think they'll get a little bit more attention.
What do you think happens? Because Minshew's minus $2 to start week 1.
Yeah, I think Aiden O'Connell will start because they're going to give him the ball to start training camp. We'll be down in Costa Mesa, out of here with the weather for a couple of weeks there, and Aiden O'Connell will get the ball to start the preseason and start camp. Now, here's what happens. If Gardner Minshew's fantastic in camp, just like blowing everybody away with this new 12 personnel that they're going to run, and he's better, they'll go with Gardner Minshew, but I think Aiden O'Connell deserved the opportunity to be the starter and get through the preseason. I think that'll be the loyalty of Antonio Pierce. And then if he doesn't win games, it's going to be Gardner Minshew. If he doesn't win early, the Raiders are going to have to make a quick decision on how to fight through this god-awful early schedule on the road, stabilize, and get some wins going early.
Yeah, said a lot there, and there's a lot to talk about. So, Raiders open on the road against the Harbaugh brothers, the Chargers and the Ravens. That's a tough way to open the season. I think it probably would set up for Gardner Minshew, who's got more experience. You would want him to start on the road in the first couple weeks against the Chargers and Ravens. Maybe not. So, JT, when I mentioned this, a lot of people are like, wow, didn't realize this. Aiden O'Connell in his last 4 starts last season, 8 touchdown passes, no interceptions. Now, the Kansas City game's what jumps out to a lot of people, burns in your memory. They didn't complete a pass after the first quarter. But the Raiders didn't need to throw the ball in the second half of that game. They ran over the Chiefs and won that game. So my biggest question mark here, I like the Raiders' personnel quite a bit. I did the AFC West breakdown for our preview magazine. I think the Raiders' offensive personnel is outstanding. Defense is better. Last 9 games last season, they allowed 16 points a game with Patrick Graham as defensive coordinator. Are the quarterbacks going to be good enough to get the Raiders over this win total of 6.5? And is the schedule a little bit too tough? That's the only 2 big questions I would have here. How would you break those 2 questions down?
Yeah, Matt, good analysis there. First off, I think the X factor for this entire team is Christian Wilkins. They bring over the defensive tackle. Now that Aaron Donald has retired, Chris Jones signed with Kansas City. I think he's top 3 at that position in the league. If he starts blowing up the line of scrimmage, and Max Crosby, who's still going to be double-teamed, you can't double-team both of them. Malcolm Kuntz had a big year on the other end. Tyree Wilson is their 7th pick overall from a year before where he was hurt. This defensive line is really good. So I'm hoping that they're turning the ball over at midfield. They're getting a strip sack or 2 more. They're knocking balls down at the line of scrimmage, and then they're giving the ball back to Aiden O'Connell or Gardner Minshew with better field goal position. They get the best punter in football, I believe, 1 or 2. They got a great kicker, so they can pound field goals. But the issue will be, can they run the ball with Zamir White, who played at Georgia? We're not talking some kid out of Tulsa or out of UConn here. We're talking about a beast who ran the ball, who's got fresh legs. I've said this, guys, if you lined up all 32 running backs in the NFL on a football field with every coach in the league and told them to take off a shirt, they would scream and go, who's the guy who looks like a linebacker? Get him off the field. That's Zamir White. This guy averaged 4.6 in the final 4 games. When he jumped, he started playing more because Josh Jacobs got hurt. So The schedule is tough. The quarterback's playing in a new system now under Luke Getsy from Chicago. It's going to be 12 personnel with Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers. This guy, Brock Bowers, you can throw him the ball behind the line of scrimmage, at the line of scrimmage. He could take reverses. He's got to have a big year. The key to the Raiders this upcoming season is one thing. Will they run the offense efficiently early? Just get the ball out. Just get the ball out to Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, and both those tight ends. If you can get the ball out and not have it blocked at the line of scrimmage, you'll pick up more first downs. You'll control the clock more. You can run it with Zeus, Samir White, and hopefully grind out some wins against a few teams where the Raiders will be underdogs at home and on the road.
Great points. You win 8 games, almost make the playoffs, 27th in points per game, 27th in yards as well. How about, what is this, one primetime game? Am I looking at this right?
Well, I'll tell you what this league did to the Raider Nation. First off, they get them opening up, as Matt said, against the Harbaugh brothers on the road. Nice job, Roger. Couldn't have the home game. You couldn't have the home game against the Chargers and at Baltimore? Why can't we do that? Is there a concert I don't know about, a boy band playing at Allegiant Stadium? And then, the rest of the schedule, you got Cincinnati on the schedule, Cleveland on the schedule, Pittsburgh again, Jacksonville late in the year, at Derek Carr, December 28th in New Orleans. We'll see what happens there. But the key is, if the Raiders can get a split, follow me here. Chargers won 5 games. I know, Matt, I saw your analysis also on the Chargers. Outstanding. They won 5 games. They're going to be better, no doubt, with Jim Harbaugh. That's a Raider home game. That's a Raider home game in L.A.
Yep.
If the Raiders can steal that one, or not steal it, just win it outright, with Antonio Pierce straight out of Compton opening the season with the Raider Nation in a home game, then Carolina comes in for the home opener. If the Raiders can get to 2-1 out of the gate, I think 6.5's a lock.
Yep. Okay. How about playoffs? 3-1. AFC's tough, but they're 3-1 to make the playoffs, 9-1 to win the division.
Yeah, I couldn't believe what it is to win the division compared to the Chargers again. You guys are the experts on this. I mean, how does a team have better odds to win the division that won 5 games last year, lost Keenan Allen, lost Austin Eckler, lost some of their best players on offense, only because the marquee value of the coach? Okay, hey, look, you got 2 sides on any bet. I understand that. But, look, the Raiders' best chance is a wild card. They play Kansas City, I think, tough. I think they're going to be up for the Kansas City games, but I'd be a lunatic if I came on VSiN today and said they're going to sweep or split with Kansas City. You hope to do that. They've won 8 in a row against Denver, guys. 8 in a row. It's hard to win 10 in a row against the team. If the Raiders can sweep Denver this year, split with the Chargers, split with Kansas City, I think they got a pretty good chance for a wild card. Absolutely.
Chargers going to be a lot better, JT. They're not going to miss Keenan Allen or Mike Williams, who were always injured, and their offensive personnel is going to be much better. Their offensive line's outstanding. It's not just Harbaugh. But anyway, the Broncos look bad to me. Do you think the Broncos are definitely the worst team in this division?
Yeah, I think they are. I think the Broncos are going to play better because they got better personnel, and that coach is starting to settle in. But, I think Denver's in a really bad spot. They almost look to be in a rebuild, guys.
Great job, Brick. Good to talk to you. We'll see you soon. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, guys. Thank you. Have a great day.
JT the Brick on the Progressive guest line. They get off to that 2-1 start. Lock, he says. There's a lot of winnable games there.
When do we get to talk about the Chargers this week? We doing
tomorrow.
Is that tomorrow?
I know. I'm looking forward to it with your breakdown. Absolutely. What we're betting coming up next in Pocket. VSiN, follow the money.
To determine the winner of any given college basketball game.
Someone gives you 10,000 to 1 on anything. You take it. Take it. Take it.
I bet you $20 I can get you gambling before the end of the day. No way. I'll give you 3-1 odds. Nope. 5-1. Nope. 10-1. You're on.
Winner Friday. Game 6, second period over. Rocking chair winner. Should have been. I thought I cashed that ticket a minute in. But the goal that was disallowed, and that's I understand the people's frustration, too, about that's not what replay's about, down to a millimeter. What is it, offsides? But, a great job by Knobloch challenging that, and also you can do that when you've killed off 46 of the last 47 power plays as well. So right back with it today. Second period over, 1.5 minus 130, 135 in that range, and we have the pending. Like many people, I thought it was over. That's why we love sports, and this is going to be phenomenal watch tonight. Panthers $1.30 to win the series. It all comes down to tonight, and you're seeing like $1.10 on the game with the Panthers. If you want to get nuts, over 7.5 is plus 475. The last 4 games have gone over, and it's gone over 7.5 2 of the last 4. Edmonton, reverse puck line, plus 220, 230 in that situation, but you can also bet Edmonton in regulation, plus 155. Brian points out, Game 7s, going back 29-12 underrun since 2015. 14 to the last 15 Game 7 Stanley Cup Final. 5 goals or fewer, 14 to the last 50. How about that? So the alt total under 4.5 is plus 180. But if you took the bad beat in Game 6, you see what happens in this type of game. The goal, if it's a 1-goal game, a 2-goal game, I'm pulling the goalie, and he's staying out. So 2 empty net goals. It was 3-1 with 3 minutes left, and it ends up going over. What happened Friday? But again,
how about first period under? Did you think about playing the first period under?
Yeah, we've seen several first period unders in this series, and that's first period under, second period over. 4 straight second periods have gone over. I like that angle. First period under, second period over. There you go. But again, most excited I've been for a hockey game since '94, and you could say most important, most drama, anything, most anticipated hockey game since Game 7 '94 Rangers Canucks. This is everything. This is so many storylines tonight. This is great.
You bet Panthers minus 130 before the series. After 3 games, you're probably counting your money.
Absolutely.
I think it's over, right?
Yep, no doubt. I thought it was over. I thought they'd sweep them, and I loved them in Game 5. I wasn't like everyone in Game. A lot of respected people on Florida in Game 6. I was not. They were shook, especially after what happened in Game 5, because I bet them in Game 5. I said, this is. 4-1 Edmonton. The slow starts, and Game 6. Shots on goal, 11-2 Edmonton after the first period. This is wild. All right, you got a lot here. This is good.
Well, NBA draft week, and I love the draft. All right, so I'm going to start with baseball today. Let's go with the White Sox. Man, this is scary. Scary to bet the White Sox, but you know what?
Not with this guy.
They've had a lot of leads, and the bullpen's blown it.
Yeah, true.
White Sox been a pretty good first 5 team, and actually with Garrett Crochet, the lefty, going, let's play the first 5. I'm not going to make the mistake I did Sunday. I bet Paul Skeens first 5 and a half unit on the game. This is all first 5 here. White Sox plus 115. You might be able to find a slightly better number out there. It's early today. All the numbers are not up in the market. First 5 plus 115. Garrett Crochet, the lefty who starts for the White Sox today, 16 starts. Paul, he's 6-6 for a team that's 21-58.
Yeah, hello.
He should have a better record than 6-6.
Mm-hmm.
But here's the thing: 88 2/3 innings, 124 strikeouts. That's 12.6 per 9, and a WHIP of 0.95. Last 5 starts, 31 innings, 8 earned runs, a 50-7 K to walk ratio. White Sox got the better pitcher going tonight. Hopefully they get him some run support, unlike Paul Skeens and the Pirates on Sunday. But I'm going to play this first 5, not the game, because when Crochet goes out, the White Sox bullpen can blow it. If you look at the Dodgers lineup right now, Ohtani's in the leadoff spot. Freddie Freeman up there at the top 2. Those 2 guys alone make it a good lineup. But Paul, no Mookie Betts, who got hit on the hand. He's out 6 to 8 weeks. No Max Muncy. Look at the Dodgers lineup beyond Ohtani and Freeman. It's not that scary. And in fact, I think Garrett Crochet, if he can pitch around Ohtani and Freeman, 2 lefties, and Crochet's a lefty, he's got a big advantage, I think, in this game against the Dodgers. So that's my breakdown for the White Sox Dodgers, first 5 plus 115. NBA draft on Wednesday night. Actually, the first two props are probably not going to be decided on Wednesday night because it's going to be a 2-day draft.
Interesting. Really?
First round on Wednesday, second round on Thursday.
Now, I bet under 39.5 plus money.
On who?
think on Bronny.
Under?
Yeah.
Why?
That's I think someone's going to make a business decision here. And Arash Markazi was on with us and think they could take him at 17.
Ah, come on.
What? Go ahead.
I listened to a respected draft analyst last week, and they said, where would you take Bronny James? He said, somewhere in the third round. There is no third round, obviously. So he's not a player who should be drafted.
Under normal circumstances, maybe. But this is...
Is this a Caitlin Clark deal where Bronny James? No, not even. Nobody really cares about Bronny James. It's the fact that he's going to be playing with his dad, right? So ESPN's going to play that up that Bronny's going to be playing with LeBron. I'm taking the Lakers to draft Bronny. I said it before the weekend at even money. Right now, DraftKings is up there at minus 110.
Okay.
I don't see why any team other than the Lakers would draft Bronny James. You could sign him as a free agent if you want him. Why would you draft him? He came off the bench for USC and averaged 5 points a game. Bronny draft position over 40.5. Lakers could sit there and take him at number 55. Nobody else is going to take him. He worked out for two teams, Lakers and the Suns, only in case LeBron opts out of his contract with the Lakers and decides he wants to go to Phoenix. That's not going to happen. Anyway, we can talk about that later.
Yeah. This is what I'm intrigued.
Zach Edey.
What do you think of his pro prospects?
7'4" big man from Purdue. I actually kind of like him. I think he's going to be better than a lot of people think in the NBA. But I don't think he's going in the top 14 picks. The one spot that does concern me, because I've read a lot of draft information, a lot of mock draft, the Miami Heat are interested, it appears, in Edey at number 15. I think there are a lot of teams that actually like Edey. NBA personnel people think much higher of him than the average basketball fan does in terms of his NBA potential. You know that he had a faster shuttle run at the Combine than Reed Shepherd?
What?
The Kentucky guard? Yeah.
Oh.
He actually had a pretty high shooting percentage on the long-range jump shots and threes in the workouts. Well, the big question is, can he get out and defend in space and the pick and roll and all that? And that's going to be a problem. But Zach Edey, over 16.5. I think he's going to go somewhere around 18, 19, or early 20s.
All right.
I actually think he's a really good fit with the New York Knicks, but they don't pick until 24 and 25, and I think he's going to be gone by then. But over 16.5, the only thing you have to fear here is the Heat at number 15. That's Lakers to draft Bronny James and Zach Edey over 16.5, and Bronny over 40.5. I seriously would be stunned if he is a first-round pick. Who said he's a business decision?
Arash Markazi.
And how does it benefit your business to take him in the first round?
Lakers.
They can get him in the second. They can get him in the second round.
Maybe.
Huh?
Maybe.
Who else is going to draft him?
You never know. They could be thinking the same thing. Wow, if I draft him, maybe I could get LeBron, and that's it. Our NFL betting guide drops this Thursday. Never been a better time to become a VSiN Pro subscriber. In-depth profiles of every team, proven betting systems, trends, picks, props, win totals. Youmans on the Chargers tomorrow. Can't wait. His breakdown on the Chargers win total. And Matt did the AFC West in the magazine. To get the guide, you got to be a VSiN Pro subscriber. $1.99, 13 months, less than 50 cents a day. Promo code FTM. VSiN.com/subscribe, code FTM. Get it now. Here we go. Home team, all sports. Home team has lost 6 straight Game 7s. Last home team to win a Game 7, Miami Heat 2013, over 4,000 days ago. Madness. This is something.
And the Miami Heat should have lost that game.
And they should have lost that game.
Spurs gave it away.
That series, this is wild. Yep. Also, go to VSiN.com. Nigel on soccer every day, his write-ups, and now it gets fun. Yesterday was great. Now with the final match here of the match play, group play, you get the teams playing at the same time, the matches at the same time. It's phenomenal. So Nigel's been hot. You can check out his picks as well, and it's never happened before. We had a guy calling for multiple segments, and he didn't even make it. So I hope John Murgis okay. And again, We can read that article about him in the Chicago Sun-Times as well. Matt on the Chargers, Paul Stone, Sun Belt, Notre Dame. Fun show. Recap Game 7 as well. Gil up next. Good luck.